Back in October, I visited the city of Quetzaltenango, otherwise known as Xela. You might have seen my video here on this YouTube channel introducing you to Xela. A really great place. It's about a 4 to 5 hour drive from either Antigua or Guatemala City. It's on the far western side of the country. Well, during my 4 days there, I was really there primarily to visit my friend Rosemary and see her 2-month-old son, Santiago. But of course, she introduced me to a few of her friends that were able to take me around the city and also a little bit outside the city to see some really interesting things. So on the Sunday that I was there, Rosemary's friend Carlos took me a little bit outside the city, and we saw that day 3 really unique churches. And let me tell you, if we would have just seen one of these churches, it would have been very unique. I've been to a lot of churches in my life, both as somebody who participates in Mass on a weekly basis, but also as somebody who is a traveler, who travels the world and has been in many cathedrals. Sometimes when you've been to so many churches and so many cathedrals, you get a little churched out, right? In terms of, when you're visiting a city, do I really need to go see another cathedral or another church or something, right? But I gotta tell you, not only, one of these churches that we saw on the outskirts of Xela, but all 3 of them were really, really unique places, very special places. The first one is about a half-hour drive, about a 30-minute drive outside of Xela, and it is called San Andres Xecul. That's actually the name of the town as well. So just like Quetzaltenango has an indigenous name as well called Xela, right? So a lot of these Guatemalan cities have both a Spanish name, like Quetzaltenango, and an indigenous name, Xela, right? So San Andres is the Spanish name of this town, and the indigenous name is Shaku, right? So this town is very famous for having this yellow church. I mean, this church is just very bright, very colorful, all the artwork all over it. You just can't stop looking at it, and you could see it from pretty far away. So in this video here, we're gonna take you here up through into this very, very small town, mostly a lot of indigenous people, but also a mix, right, of people that have both mixed descent from the Spanish and also from the Maya or the Quichua Maya people, right? So this town was really unique. We walked through it. We could walk through the whole thing. It was Sunday. They had church going on. They had a Sunday market nearby. But also there's a really cool hike that you could take to see this town from above. What's also very special about this town is that a lot of the people there migrate. They leave and they come to the United States. And so, of course, a lot of people in the U.S. know Guatemala as think of Guatemala as a place people leave to come to the United States. Right now, as I'm recording this video, there are thousands and thousands of migrants trying to get into the United States almost every day through the southern U.S. border near Mexico, and a lot of them are coming through Central America, and particularly from Guatemala or from other Central American countries through Guatemala and through Mexico. So we're going to see a little bit of that in this video as well in terms of where some of those folks are coming from, because some of these places just do not have as much opportunity, and so they leave for the opportunities. But again, when you're there, it's a really special place, this place with this yellow church, and we're going to see it also from above.
So here we have a mermaid on the left. They're considered sinful. We have a lot of angels.
En honor a la Virgen del Rosario, por la clausura del mes del Rosario, ofrece la presidenta Silvia Marisol Mazariegos de Tonoc y Grupo Mariano. En honor a Jesús sacramentado por la vida y salud de Juan Pablo Chanralac. En honor a Jesús sacramentado por la vida y salud de Juan Pablo Chanralac y Julia Nicolasa Chanralac. pidiendo a Dios protección por la construcción de la casa de la familia.
And these are people at the top.
Pidiendo a San Miguel Arcángel por la protección de la familia.
Once a year they watch a ceremony where people go on a rope across to the church.
Pidiendo a Dios protección por la vida, salud y estudios de Sheni Marisol Sanchabak Shum.
So we're here in the town of San Andres
Xecul.
San Andres Xecul, and Xecul means like under the blankets, because it's kind of right on cue. We got fireworks. This town also is known for a lot of fireworks, and Fernando was telling me that a lot of people in this town there's a lot of people that immigrate from here to the United States. Most of them never return back, but they send money back. But you can see the style of the houses. A lot of them are traditional with the Spanish tile here, but then you have a lot of new types of houses. We get some great fireworks here in the middle of it's literally 9:30 in the morning, and so on a Sunday of all things, mass is going on down there. But anyway, you got like new construction here that looks more new, probably more influenced by traditional construction in the United States. So I don't know exactly why that is, but perhaps just some of that knowledge coming back here of how to build these sort of structures. So anyway, but a beautiful view up here, and behind me here we have the little small chapel, and of course to the left over there we have Mayan, to the right of the viewer we have Mayan sacrifices going on right next to this little small Catholic church. This is up on the hill, but the bigger, more beautiful church is actually down here. We just saw that.
Fernando just explained to me that the Mayan cross is more equilibrium, whereas the Christian cross, of course, the vertical part of the cross is much larger than the horizontal part. But this is sort of how the Mayan repurpose it in the syncretism. And we've got a great view right here. And we got Fernando over here. Gracias, Fernando. Show me around. What is the name of this town again?
San Andres Xecul.
San Andres Xecul. Xecul is the Mayan name. San Andres is the Spanish name.
Under the blankets.
Blancos.
Blankets.
Oh, blanket. Under the blankets is what it means.
Xecul.
Under the. Is that because of the mountains? Under the mountains?
Cover the town.
Okay.
Right.
So the mountains are like the blankets. Nice view from up here, and beautiful colored bench featuring San Andres. Oh, there's a lot of places to rest on this trail. Keeps going. A little lancha.
Sí, una lancha pequeña, like kayak. A little kayak. So
These are like the threads.
they use this for.
All right, so there's a lot of stray dogs in Guatemala, especially in the countryside and even on the trails. They will follow you and accompany you up the mountains, as this little guy's doing today. Okay, we made it to the top of the trail. There's this great lookout. Look great on Instagram. And there's the town below. We were at this beautiful church right here. And backing up over here is the cemetery. And it's hard to see, but we went up this whole trail. About 30 minutos?
30 minutes.
Yeah. Beautiful view up here. Waiting our turn. So we came all the way up to the top and we're waiting to take a photo there, and our dog followed us and decided to take a little siesta. Well, we made it to the top. We can see the town below. Beautiful, and it's so much cooler up here with the breeze after you've hiked. Beautiful views. Always beautiful views in Guatemala. Okay, we're here near the viewpoint, and this is like a Mayan sacrifice area. What's interesting is the cross is a normal Christian cross. Yeah. This is where they found a statue of San Andres, and this is why the town is named that. And if you go here, there is the town, and that's the church. A very colorful church that we were standing in front of not too long ago. Beautiful. I guess we're above the blankets. We're on top of the blankets. We have the internet cafe. In the tienda.
So after we left San Andres Xecul, we made our way back towards Quetzaltenango, and not too far from San Andres Xecul, maybe a 10 or 15 minute drive. First of all, we went around this traffic circle where there was this very large statue, and when I asked Carlos what was this statue all about, he said it is to honor the migrants, because this is frequently the town where this traffic circle was is a town that many migrants pass through to get to the Mexican border. So it really hit home to me that this was a place of significance for a lot of people. You know, I know that a lot of people back in the United States are alarmed by the numbers of immigrants, and in particularly illegal immigrants coming across the southern border. But it really hits home for you when you see the, shock that these are the places people are leaving. These are the places they're coming through. And that journey is not easy. It's a very difficult journey. You want to talk about a fearless journey. That is one of the most dangerous. Many people don't make it. There's a lot of kidnappings. It's a horrible environment for a lot of these people. But this is, as I was looking up at this statue, while we were going through this traffic circle, I was really just thinking about here's where these people come through, and that little town is very small and almost deserted that people come through, and that's where they come through on their way to get to the Mexican border and the eventually the U.S. border. So as we came through this town, we also went to this little church in that town called La Ermita de la Concepcion. La Ermita de la Concepcion. So it's kind of like the Hermitage of the Immaculate Conception in a way, right? But the church is also known as San Jacinto, which I believe is what the name of the town is, the Church of San Jacinto. The church is also known as La Ermita la Conquistadora, right? So the church or the Hermitage of the Conquistador. So this has a couple different names, probably for various reasons, right? But the one most important thing about this church, it was founded in 1524. It is the oldest church in Central America. So not just in Guatemala, but in all of Central America. Now, there's a little bit of a claim of a church at somewhere in Panama, but that was when Panama was part of Colombia, I believe, when that church was founded. So that's was almost like considered South America at that time. So I'm not really sure, but this is the one that was built in 1524. The Church of the Conquistador, because this church was probably built by conquistadors. It was also built for conquistadors, right? So that they could worship there, but also for them to spread the message, to spread the faith to the new world. But of course, there's a lot that gets wrapped up with the conquistadors today. They weren't just bringing the faith. They were also trying to, imperialize, what is now known as Central and South America. So, there's definitely some complications there. But when you think about also the name of the church being La Ermita de la Concepcion, well, why the conception, right? The conception of Jesus Christ, right, in the Virgin Mary. Well, this was a virgin land, right? This for the Spanish anyway, right? It was the New World. And here was where the faith was being conceived and being born from this church to go out towards all the people that they were coming through. So really cool old church. We couldn't go in. It was behind gates. They do use it for special events, but they don't typically use it on Sunday mornings or just for regular, weekly or daily mass or anything like that. So I was just able to see it from the outside, but it was cool to just get my eyes on it and be there on the grounds of this first Catholic church, but also first Christian church in all of Central America.
So this is the oldest church in Central America. It's called
La Ermita
La Ermita
de la Conquistadora.
de la Conquistadora. The ermita is
Like a little chapel.
like the chapel of the Conquistador. So you have this little cross, and to the sides of it, those are lions. Those represent like the Lion of Spain. Would that be right? So you've been to enough churches and chapels, you know what the heck. These represent Central America, the New World. Wow. Is this church still in use?
Yeah, only for special events, but yeah.
Special events. Because right now my hands are going through this. It is locked. But very nice. And we're in a little town here. What is the name of this town? Sarcaja, which is a town where a lot of people emigrate from now to go to the United States.
Revolution in 1897.
Oh, in this town?
Yeah,
This city?
revolution. So this monument is in memory of the person who was assassinated.
And what is this?
This is el monumento a la marimba, because Xela is really famous for the marimba, no?
Oh, the marimba.
Yeah, we have a lot musicians from marimba.
Yeah.
So
Okay, the final church that we went to was at the end of the morning, and we were able to make it there just in time for Mass. Now, Carlos, actually, I believe he attends Mass there regularly. I don't know if it's his home parish, but he seemed to know a lot of people when we got there. And the church is interesting because it's not in a physical church building. Mass was held outside, and this wasn't for COVID reasons, so this wasn't for social distancing reasons. It was literally held in a forest, El Bosque, right? El Bosque. And now people were spread out. There were chairs. That may be a little bit due to COVID, so you can see some of the videos and pictures that I took there. We were kind of near the back, literally a lot of trees, but there were speakers we could hear. It wasn't the best sound system in the back, but it was fine. And I'm there trying to listen in Spanish as well. But when you go up to the altar, it's in a grotto. Now the grotto is very famous in Catholic circles, particularly because the Virgin Mary appeared in the grotto at Lourdes, and also the grottos go all the way back to even biblical times, right? There was a lot of things that happened in grottos, and even Christ himself was born in somewhat of a grotto. In a grotto is kind of a garden or sculpted rocks or a cave or a cavern or so these are the kinds of places that have real significance for people in the Christian and particularly Catholic faith. And so to have this built into a grotto where you're coming near the altar was really cool. But there was something else I discovered about this place that was other than just the ambiance of being in a forest. I mean, Mass in a forest. It was super cool. But this place has a facility there, and that facility is to house children who are both disabled and abandoned. And this was really kind of sad to hear that. Obviously, there are lots of people with disabilities, physical disabilities, and even mental disabilities. But here, to have children who were disabled and yet they were also abandoned by their families. And it's hard for me to imagine. It might be hard for you to imagine. But I guess in some cultures, in some places, maybe it's just too difficult to raise disabled children. Maybe people don't have the means or the funds, or maybe there's other reasons that I don't know, that they don't want to have disabled children. But they abandoned them. They abandoned these disabled children. Well, the church is always a place that welcomes all people and that takes care of the needy. And who could be more needy than a disabled child who, children really can't care for themselves as it is. And when they have physical disabilities, it's even harder. And then they also have a lot of issues that go with fitting in with other people in society that maybe don't have physical disabilities. So here was a wonderful place, a place of great faith and spirituality that houses these children. You saw, during Mass, I saw a number of people, especially closer near the altar, that were disabled. I think I even saw some disabled altar servers. And it seemed to be like a higher percentage than I would normally see in any place or Mass like that. And that's what it is, because they're there, they live there, they participate in Mass, they have people there that care for them. And, it's really interesting because we were able to tour around the place a little bit outside. I didn't get to go in the buildings or anything, but this is a really special place. It's a special place in Guatemala. It's a special place in Quetzaltenango, but it's a special place in the world. A place in a country like Guatemala, which some people might consider a third world country in some aspects. A place that has a lot of poverty, but a place that's on the rise as well. But a place that really understands to look after, that you got to look after these abandoned children who have these disabilities, and the place that those children find comfort in is the church. So look, I know there's people that may be watching or listening are people of many different faiths, maybe no faith, but I think everybody has a faith. They believe in something, whether it's the belief that there's no God or the belief that there is a God, and we have lots of different ways that people worship God. But I think at the core of it, whether you might view, the Christianity as part of an imperialistic mission in Latin America, all the way down from going back to the Spanish in the early days of the conquistadors, all the way to people that come there now on mission trips. You might think of that as an imperial type of thing, a way that religion maybe dominates other people. But at the core of it, religion is the way that, people congregate in community. That yellow church is just a beautiful illustration of how the Quiche Maya culture locally came together with the Spanish Christian culture. And then how beautiful and artistic the outside of that church is. It's just a really illustration of the local people's color and flavor. And that church just really stands out. And then you have the old church, the historic church that's been there for so long. And that really is a testament to the fact that the church is a remnant. It's a place that's going to exist maybe for all time. And then you have the church in the bosque, in the forest. This place, the church, by the way, is called Hogar del Niño Minusválido Hermano Pedro. And basically what that means is home of the handicapped child, Brother Pedro. And I don't know what Brother Pedro they're referring to, but obviously Peter Pedro was the apostle closest to Jesus, who Jesus gave the keys to the kingdom to. But anyway, this really amazing place that is going to take care of some of the most vulnerable children in society here in Guatemala, in Quetzaltenango, and in a really special place in the world. It's almost hard to imagine that somebody would abandon a disabled child or a child at all. But here's a place where those children are cared for and kept up with, and their spirituality is really forged as well. And for the rest of the people that are able to be part of that community, it's a special place for sure. And I felt a a great spiritual power there that was really just special, and it really capped off our day to be able to finish there and to celebrate Mass there as well. It really brought more meaning to why it is all these churches exist to begin with. So the church, as you go around the world and into countries like Latin America, like Guatemala, and places in Latin America, that the church is very strong, and there's many churches everywhere you go. We can't forget the true role of the church, and that's to care for the most vulnerable and to bring us all to a more spiritual place to be able to do that as well. So Guatemala's been a very special place. Quetzaltenango has been a wonderful place to visit. And this one day that Carlos showed me these 3 very unique churches was really cool. And I'll never forget that day, and I'll never forget these churches. And hopefully I'll be back.